So God's blessings to you in this year of grace. All right, I'm going to move over here. I'm a mover, so I'm free range like all of the animals on the Apache are. So it just works. Yes, I'm Pastor Dave Bostedt. This is my wife, Jo. We stand before you this morning in what would be contemporary, modern Apache celebratory garments. So this is regalia. This is a ribbon shirt. That is what most men would wear to a wedding, a special occasion, or to the rodeo. And there's nothing that is a better comparison for marriage than a rodeo. So we just keep those things together. My wife is wearing a camp dress. Camp dresses are what the Native women began to wear in the late 1800s when the trading posts were set up. They no longer had to wear leathers or things that had been tanned from hides. Much more breathable, much more comfortable. If you look at more of the camp dresses from that day, they didn't have a lot of material to choose from. They very rarely matched. They are kind of always very striking against your eye. That is still kind of the course for Apache women. They like bold colors that are very dynamic. Do you want to say anything else?
No, other than the lady who made my camp dress is very much a Christian. She's a member of one of our churches. She always on a camp dress will hide a cross. There are many people who are non-Christians, traditional religion, who ask her to make camp dresses. She still will put a cross on the camp dress. After a while, if you want to come up and look at me, that sounds bad. More closely, my cross, Dave, you have to point it out.
This is my Vanna moment. It's right here. It's in the center triangle. It is stitched in purple on the fabric. So
she always says that if someone sees it and they ask why you have a cross on your clothing, she said, what better way to testify? I believe in Jesus. Let me tell you about him.
All right, so we have some pictures to show to you. I talk too much because I love these people. I have so many stories to tell you. So somebody's going to have to give me like a 5 when I got 5 minutes to wrap it up. But I'm going to try to get everything in as much as I can. East Fork Mission has been serving Apache people for over 125 years. Some people want to know why is it a world mission? You live in the United States. I no longer live in the United States. I live on the White Mountain Apache tribe of the Fort Apache Reservation. I live on a sovereign nation. I am a guest on the sovereign nation. All of our missionaries, pastors, teachers who are white are guests on the sovereign ground. We have no rights. We have no standing there, so we try to be the best guests that we can be. We can be asked to leave at any moment for any reason, escorted off the mission field and not allowed back. So it's a very fine line that we walk. But we're a world mission because when the seminary sent missionaries out to the Apache people, Arizona was not a state. So we were leaving the United States and we went to a foreign country at that time. And because we live on that sovereign nation, we are guided by tribal law. Tribal law is above state law. The only thing that is above tribal law is federal law. So we follow all of the tribal regulations, guidelines, rules, and laws to make sure that we are very good guests on the reservation. So this is a little state emblem of Arizona. If I say Arizona to you, what's the first word that pops into your mind to describe it? Sand. Hot, right? Well, we are the blue section right under the place where it says Fort Apache. We are at 52,000 feet elevation. We live on a mountain. What? 100. What did I say? 52,000? Yeah. See, that's why I'm married. keeps me honest. She knows this thing. Yes, and I'm going to mess up the city names in this section like I don't even live there, but I do. So 52,000 feet. It's going to be a long day. I did 9 of these presentations flawlessly this week, so I'm sorry I'm messing this one up for you. We have 4 seasons. It's a gorgeous place to live. I would never live anywhere else in Arizona than where I live because the rest of it just is hot and sandy. In the white section, that is a map of our, I don't know, is there a laser on this? Nope, that was not the laser. We're not going to push any more buttons. I can do this. Old school. If you start up over here, this is MCNARY. MCNARY is the furthest north congregation, small outpost, probably about 25 to 30 members. That is connected with White River. White River is our largest city on the reservation. The church there, the Open Bible Church, has about 900 members. Then there's 2 dots here, the historic Fort Apache, but it's actually East Fork. This is my congregation as well as Canyon Day. I serve these 2. East Fork has about 250 members. Canyon Day has about 150. Then we go over to Cedar Creek. Mission Outpost currently has 15 members. And then CIBECUE way out here in the boonies is connected with Cedar Creek, and they have about 75 members. There was a school at one time at CIBECUE. It closed in the 1980s because for various reasons, but it's closed. So the only school on the northern reservation now is East Fork Lutheran School. These are the pastors that I work with. Pastor Kirk Massey is the gentleman in the orangish salmon-colored shirt. He has been trained on the Apache field. We'll talk about that in a little bit. He has been serving for 5 years as a pastor. Pastor Lupi has been serving for 15 years. Pastor Massey has MCNARY and White River. Pastor Lupi has Cedar Creek and CIBECUE. And we stand this way usually because otherwise they refer to us as the Oreo. The Apache people are hilarious, which is what no one taught me about them before I went there. Everyone taught me, oh, they're scary, they're frightening. They are the most fun-loving group of people I ever met. Up in the upper corner is our evangelist, Leonard Fall. He is currently our only evangelist, trained to be an evangelist. He is trained to do visits, and as well as he can write a sermon and preach it as long as one of us as pastors approves it. And then in the lower corner, you'll see the backbone of our ministry, our lovely supportive wives, who always are there to help and support us. So this is the MCNARY Church. It's called Shepherd in the Pines. Small, tiny church. Their church is, if we took this half of the church, is still, we could sit the MCNARY Church inside here and have plenty of room to walk around. Cool thing about this is the Fort Apache Reservation has the world's oldest, best, and sought after ponderosa pine. It is their treasure that God has given to them. It's kind of hard to see, but the lectern on the right and pulpit is a giant log from one of the Apache pines that they cut down. The bottom part of it, the stump of it, is in the center of their altar, and there is another piece that makes up their baptismal font. So it was all from one ponderosa pine. And as I said, they have about 35 members. This is the big church on the reservation because it has the longest title, the Lutheran Church of the Open Bible of White River. You know, some great white man gave it that title. That's where Pastor Ginther was. That's the hallowed name of the missionaries who came. So they are our urban church. They have all of the problems of urban ministry. They have gangs, they have drug wars, they have drug deals, they have poverty, they have homeless people. That's why we call it, it's the best way to describe it. It is an urban ministry, even though we are on this reservation of 13,400 people. Those of you who are interested in the miles that it encompasses, keep me honest, 26,000 square miles, 100. I just, math was not my, I have to look, because I went to school at FEL. I have to see if Mr. Plath is still around. Might take back my grade. So this is East Fork. I put this picture up because, yes, we get snow. Interesting thing. That's why the Christmas pictures are up there. It's gorgeous in the middle of snow. Interesting thing about snow, we're going to talk a little bit more about traditional Apache religion. Traditional Apache religion is demonic. It is horrible. It is the fight and struggle daily of our ministry. But why I have the snow picture up there is because in the second snowfall, any babies that were born up until that time, they roll naked in the snow, make 2 snowballs, put them under their armpits so that they won't grow hair. And God's Son dying on the cross for you is a stretch to believe. Here's Canyon Day. There are 2 Canyon Day churches. They sit right next to each other. The old wooden church, the newer brick church, the straw church. The Wiki Up was the first and second church. The reason the Christmas picture is up here, both of these churches were dedicated on Christmas Eve. The white church came from Fort Apache, the historic fort. It was a barracks there. The government had said it was condemned. The Apaches are resourceful. They don't want anything wasted. They said, "Can we have the building?" And the government said, "You sure can." So the members at Canyon Day went in, numbered every board, marked how they went together, disassembled the building, carried it 5 miles. The people carried it 5 miles because at that time not many of them had even a vehicle, and they didn't want to waste their horses and mules, donkeys, transporting this. Reassembled it on the property of the church. That's the dedication of the Apache people to their Lord and the love that they have for the Word of God. It is amazing how strong they are. So the stone church stands next to it, and we worship in the stone church. This is now the wooden building is our fellowship hall. Here's Shepherd of the Mountain Lutheran Church in Cedar Creek. It is tinier than MCNARY, so probably about 1/4 of this building size. They just got heat this year. Yay, someone bought a wood stove. And they didn't connect it, so the pipe just goes out the open window. They are waiting to get electricity. The pole has been purchased. They just need someone to be able to rent a auger for the rock to be able to drill the hole to put the pole in. But we are assured that there will be electricity there. And then this is the church at CIBECUE that had a school. The school is currently used for Head Start in CIBECUE. CIBECUE is the Apache church that is most removed from the other Apache. Just interesting. Historically, they are now doing tests on the CIBECUE Apache to declare them their own tribe because they, being so removed from the other Apache tribes, they truly are their own identity. But that's a huge process to go through. So those are the churches on the northern reservation. The Fort Apache fort is tied to the history of our mission there. The fort was set up there because of the Apache people being at war with the people who wanted to come over and contain them. I served the White Mountain Apache tribe. The White Mountain Apache tribe and their chief at the time, Chief Elchese, was a very peace-loving man, actually kind of saw the writing on the wall that freedom for the Apaches was not going to last. And they actually went to the fort and worked with them, and especially in the capture of Geronimo. It's probably the Apache person that you hear the most about. Geronimo, he has now become a hero to a lot of Apaches, has been looked up to by a lot of Apaches. The White Mountain Apaches hate him. That's why they hunted him down for the government. He came in and raped their women. He stole their children and sold them into slavery in Mexico. He was not a nice man. I have older ladies in my congregation who have said to me, I was never so happy that I was the ugly one, because all the other women got hid. When they heard that Geronimo was coming, they hauled all of the women and children off, hid them in caves, so that they would remain safe. So they helped. They became what were known as the Apache Scouts, and they served the army. Also, East Fork was near here, the place where the missionaries settled, and it was some safety for them as white people at that time. So the fort is tied to us. Just an interesting little fact, the white building in the corner is the original bursar's quarters. That's where our post office is now, inside the bursar's, the historic bursar's house. These are the Apache Scouts. This would be more traditional Apache attire for the time, breeches, leggings, but they also had special uniforms for them. Over here in the bottom corner is a wiki up. That would be the Apache house form that was used at the time. Two other things that are important to the northern reservation. This is the cypress. This is the tree. I think it's dead this year. The drought hit it really bad. The green stuff in the top is mistletoe. It's not part of the tree. This was the place where the original Apaches settled when they came up. There's a river just a few bits away, but this is where the original missionaries met with people to discuss God's word with them. I have an older member who remembers as a child her grandfather was one of the interpreters, and she remembers Grandpa taking her on the horse to go and sit with the missionaries under the East Fork tree. The other two pictures are of Chief Elchese. He was known for being a tall man, a calm man, and a man of peace. He was instrumental in establishing the church there because in the influenza outbreak, 1912, 18, around in there, he got influenza and actually came to the first Ginther, and what the pastor told him is, you need to boil your water, you need to be clean, you need to wash your hands with soap, you need to stay, sounds familiar, right? You need to stay away from people who have this. Actually saved his life, which the medicine man couldn't do for him, and realized that this is the true God. The day that he was baptized at the East Fork Church, there were over White River Church, there were over 3,000 Apaches in attendance that day. So integral pieces of the history of our time on the reservation. On the campus, there is also East Fork School. There is the historic sign. The wooden sign has been replaced. We do have the original hanging in our fellowship hall. But East Fork School is also important to our mission field, because the reason that we are allowed to be on the reservation as missionaries is because we operate a school. And at that time, the school has been almost 100 years now. It is in our contract that if the school closes, all of the white missionaries have to leave. So we have a great reputation as a school. The majority of educated people now serving on the tribal council, in the tribal government, are graduates of East Fork. So go Eagles, that's what we are. This year currently we're down in enrollment, but because of COVID, we have 80 students this year in grades K through 8, and a faculty and staff of 15 that are working in the school. This is life on the mission. The central picture is our parsonage. It is our lovely double-wide trailer on the Indian reservation. That's going to be the title of our first Laura Wilders-esque book, great big double-wide on the Indian reservation. It is a lovely home. It is a palace in comparison to what our people live in. Average annual income on the northern reservation is $12,000. That's because they get $1,000 from the government every month. Our unemployment rate is 98%. It is difficult for our brothers and sisters in Christ living on the reservation. As I said in my opening remarks, the Apaches believe in free range, so animals are everywhere. They just go and walk around. So it's our house, not our horse. We don't own a horse, but the horses are always around. We have any number of them. Sometimes we have small herds of like 12 or 10 on the reservation. Spring is fun because we get to have babies born on the reservation. Spring is also horrible because we have packs of dogs that run around and kill colts and eat them in your front yard. That pretty much sums up life on the reservation. Tremendous joy and tremendous sadness, a lot in every day. So all of these animals, in one form or another, have tried to disrupt worship that I have done. Worship here is so quiet and so calm. It's just like, oh, this is so nice. Daisy is the heifer. We found out her name because after we were locked down for COVID, we had a horrible time with COVID. We spent 72 days in lockdown, could not leave our house, except for 2 hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays to go and get food. But then we had freedom. We could do drive-in worship. Yep, just like the 50s. Pastor stood in front of the East Fork School or in front of Canyon Day, yelled and screamed and hollered the sermon at them. Everyone was in their cars. We honked for amens, which I didn't start, but I said in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and everybody went, honk. Okay, here we go, fun people. Daisy came to East Fork where we had a table set up for communion. People would pick up a baggie, come get a bulletin, pick up a baggie, put their offering, go sit back in their cars, and we'd have Holy Communion all together. Daisy decided she needed to know what was on this table, so Daisy came up to start, and then was trying to take communion with us. Dutiful pastor's wife and principal's wife were doing their best to keep her away while they're looking at me in the middle of my sermon like, you're the pastor, do something. And the Apache, the fun people, are in their cars going, let's just see what the white guy's going to do with this. I grew up on a farm, left the farm because I hated the farm, didn't want to be on the farm, so walked over, took my plantation hat off, hit her on the rump, and she kind of turned around and looked at me, and I thought, oh, dear God, just let this work. So I'm still preached my sermon, grabbed her by the horn, walked her down through the 3 rows of cars with all the cowboys sitting in the cars. I get her to the back row, and we're finally done. Finally, 2 of them got out, had lassos, tied her up to the back of the truck, took her home. Daisy was the social media star for 3 days from East Fork. Because first of all, everybody wanted to know where she was from, and then they found the lady, and then the lady's like, I'm so sorry, I didn't know it. She's the Houdini of cows. She can get through any fence anywhere, like this big. It's amazing. So she came back with 2 goats. Goats are mean. If you don't know that, goats are horrible, mean creatures. There's a roaming herd of them in Canyon Day who decided to come to church one morning outside. So I've got 3 billy goats. One keeps ramming me in the hip. So I hit him in the head right between the eyes, and he just looked at me and decided to spit at me and ram me again. So some lady's getting her baby out of the back of the car. He tried to crawl in the back seat of her car. She hits him with her pocketbook. He grabs the pocketbook in his mouth, starts eating it. I grab the pocketbook. She runs into church. And meanwhile, there's these 2 young ones just hopping all over this sign. I think I just moved a sword. No, I didn't. Good. And finally, they're all gone. And I'm like, oh, everything's good. Till I realize the whole church starts erupting in laughter. Because the big one that had been ramming me in the hip is now staring at Joe's face on the keyboard in the back of church, like, who are you, and can I eat that stuff that's on the music stand there? And so Joe, great missionary wife, organist extraordinaire, didn't miss a beat, didn't miss a note, just kept playing and staring at all of the councilmen who were watching her thinking, what's this white lady going to do with a goat? But they finally got up. Here, if you're ever in this situation, straddle the goat over the front legs behind the head. You grab the horns and you can steer a goat anywhere you want it to go, and they're very submissive till you let go and get off. They don't tell you that part. Then we have a donkey. Came home from East Fork Church, pulled into the East Fork campus. 4 4th grade girls are trying to get the donkey up the stairs into church. Like, girls, why? And they go, Pastor, look, it has a cross on its back. It's got to be a Christian. We're going to take it inside and baptize it. I said, girls, not today. Can we call it Christian? Sure can. Well, then they're all happy with it. Down goes the donkey. So that's Sunday morning. Those are pretty normal Sunday mornings in the life of an East Fork missionary. These are the firsts. On the left is my first wedding. This is very typical of a wedding, usually just a bride and groom, and then I have to go round up 2 witnesses on campus. Then I have people, I just text them, I got a wedding, I need someone to come and sign the paperwork. Come over. They're very small affairs. A wedding license used to cost $25. Now it costs $40. Our people can't afford that. So weddings are a big deal when you have them in church, because it means that somehow you saved up the money or someone paid for your wedding license. Every Valentine's Day, weddings are performed free at the tribal courthouse. The line is huge, and they start at 9 o'clock in the morning with every judge that they have on the court, and they do weddings all day until 5 o'clock, and then you have to wait until next year because you missed your day. In the middle are the baptisms. This is my first baptism, Oakley. Little did I know that this would be the first baptism that I did. In 4.5 years, I have done 99 baptisms. We have lots of children. We have children everywhere. And I always say every one of those baptisms is special. Every one of them. So Oakley is the first. She used to stare. Her parents would sit right in front of the pulpit. Came at Apache time, usually right in the last verse of the hymn before the sermon. So they were there for the sermon. It's okay. And she would just stare at me the whole time, like her eyes fixed on me. This is kind of interesting. And this is my first adult confirmand that I have done on the reservation. Something interesting you might find, this is an Apache funeral. Apache funerals traditionally the wake lasted 5 days. The body came back, goes off of an Irish wake because there were a lot of Irish soldiers on the fort. That's where it came from. This idea you sat around. So this structure that is built is called a shadow house or a shadow room. That is where the casket goes with the body, The body stays there for, now it was 5, now they've cut it down to 3. COVID knocked it down to 1 day. So it'll be interesting to see what happens after this. I'm assuming it's going to go back to 3 days. The body stays there. They bring the living room furniture out. You can see the arm of the couch. Someone from the family sits in this room with the body for all of that time, 24/7. The two of the pallbearers are always with the body during that time. It's never left unattended. Everybody in the family, everybody in the community comes and camps out at the house and spends that time there. They cook together, they eat together. It is the time of community grieving, and it is this thing that is so foreign, I think, to our culture. But it is such a bonding moment because the Apache will tell you people matter. Time doesn't matter. Money doesn't matter. People matter. And they will drop everything to support each other. And I think we in our culture could learn something from that. So there's usually a fire going all the time. People come, and in the upper corner you'll see a man with a mic. There's a mic, we call it open mic at the wake. People will stand up and give testimony. Pastors will come from all of the churches and have prayers. Choirs will come, people will sing. The people running for office will come and campaign at these. It is the event. Every wake is really an event. Then you'll see gathering of people. This picture in the bottom corner are people who are lined up for food. People will bring donations. If you're wealthy enough, the family will get a cow, kill the cow, buy 3 new galvanized garbage cans from Walmart, butcher the cow. 3rd and 4th grade boys. It's like, sorry, can't be here in school today. I get to go help kill the cow. It's just the exciting thing, but it's also that idea of culture. This is what we do. They know where their food comes from. They know how to do this. So they put it in the galvanized garbage cans, dig a hole, throw the coals in there. This is more like Apache church. And so we have barbecued beef, condiment of choice, sweet baby rays. You'll see some fry bread on the top, corn, some potato salad, and some Jell-O kind of fluff thing. We always say that's the remnant of the Lutheran missionaries. You got it. Thanks. Every baptism is special. Every one of them. Over in the bottom corner in the yellow, that is a cradle board. That's the Apache baby backpack. They are still used by some of the new mothers. It is made by an elder. Usually it's a woman who makes them because Apache culture is matriarchal. The women, are the ones in charge of everything. The men were hunters. They left. The women did all the work. But this is one of the few times that for a baptism, someone brought a baby in a cradle board to the service. If you look in the center, you see the feet, where the feet are in this picture. And I know Alesta, wonderful lady, mother of my first confirmand. This is one of her grandkids. She is now raising 9 of her grandchildren from one of her sons. She has 3 sons, and the other grandmas from those are raising theirs. Life is not easy. So I baptized his little sister, just an angel. She was all happy and great. And it was time for me to baptize Christian. And Alesta starts bringing him down over the font, and he looked like, no way is this happening. And he started doing a barrel roll in her arms. Alesta was a Marine, okay? And Alesta has this look on her face like, I'm going to kill him. So she finally gets her arm between his legs on one of his rolls, grabs his long hair, and literally bammed his head on the baptismal font. I went, "Bow!" And everyone in church was like, "Whoa!" And then they started laughing. They were laughing because of the barrel rolls, but she hit, and it made this loud crack, and she goes, "Now!" Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So then I put my hand in blessing on his head, like, "The Lord bless and keep you." And what does the little smart aleck do? Gives me a high five. So, yeah, that was an interesting day at church. But they just are, there's a story with every one of them that makes them so cool. This is Christian's family who has kind of adopted Joe and me and allowed us to be very close with them. And I said, "Can I have a picture taken with the ones who are being baptized?" And the other one said, "How come we don't get to be in the picture?" Come in the picture. We don't care. We'll keep it going. These are my children's messages. When I say we have children everywhere. One of my goals in my ministry is that I want to connect with kids. I want kids to have, whatever color they are, to know that their pastor is someone that they can go to, that they can talk to, that they have a bond with them. So I have a children's message every Sunday, and I put things in a purple bag, and we pull it out and talk about things and how they sometimes relate to Jesus or not. So Canyon Day has less children, so there's usually about 10 kids there. At East Fork, sometimes there are 30, 40 kids that come up. It sounds like the thundering horde of kids running up, but our church is like that. There's always movement. There's always talking. There's always noise. It's what they're used to. But it takes a while to get used to that yourself. So my first purple bag, usually in the winter I have a full beard. And more hair than what you see now. It gets shaved for the summer. So I had more hair than I have now in this full beard. I sit down and I say, "We're now going to have not knowing what's going to happen. The children may now come forward for the children's message." And it was quiet for a little while, and then I just got thronged with kids. First time. 2 little kids run up and do like a long jump into my lap. So I had those 2 until they got tired of it for about 3 or 4 months, and everybody else was mad, like, "Why didn't we think of that or run faster?" So they're in my lap. They're all around me. I said it was like puppies. There was just this pile of puppies around me. And I'm trying to do the purple bag, and all of a sudden I feel this. And then we get this. And one of them goes, "Did you leave your hair at home today?" Like, "No, I just don't have hair," because Apache men do not go bald. Apache men don't go bald. So we keep going, and then I got this going on. And there's like 3 of them petting my beard, and they're like, "It's kind of picky." One of them goes, "So you can grow it here, but you can't grow it up here?" And I said, you get that answer from Jesus, and then you can share it with me. But it was the thing, once again, that removed any fear that I had and any fear that they had. Because they know they can ask me any question. And that's important when we deal with people that could easily separate us for ideas of race and or culture. I do a lot of house blessings. When someone moves into a new home, they will come to have me bless their house. This lady, Serena, lives in Canyon Day. She served in World War II. The veterans came in, gutted her house, and redid the interior of her entire house. So when that was finished, she had me come and bless it. Sometimes people move into a drug house that was there. They want me to get rid of the drug residue that's on there, or someone who is Christian who has moved into the home of a traditional worshiper wants me to remove the evil spirits that are there. The devil is active and working hard on the reservation, and we don't mess around with anything that has any hint of witchcraft, Satanism, because it is there every day. And, when you walk into a house and the person says, Pastor, there are these figures all around my house, and it's a sober man. And you realize that, somebody maybe went to the medicine man and paid him money to put a curse on the house or send an evil spirit there. These things are active and alive. And think of how often your children and grandchildren are messing around with the evil of Satan and witches and witchcraft and vampires as if it is entertainment. I say that loudly and clearly because Halloween is coming up. And think about what your families are doing on that day. Here's our women's ministry. We have a very active women's ministry. They have two major things in the summer for 3 days. They have a women's conference. Invite all of the ladies from the reservation, not just our Lutheran ladies, to come together at East Fork School. We do 3 nights of Bible study, crafts, fun activities. One time there was a missionary there who played the fiddle, who taught them how to square dance. I mean, it was the best ticket on the reservation that night. You don't know what it's like to see elderly Apache women in camp dresses giggling like they're, in 6th grade, running around trying to learn how to square dance, running into each other, just having a ball. And we also do Advent by candlelight. The lady in the corner is someone I've been trying to convince to become a deaconess, to help me in my ministry. Apache culture says that a married Apache woman should not be alone with any other man. So making a visit by myself is inappropriate. So Lily, this one older lady, she was married at the time, had a gorgeous camp dress on it one day. I said, Lily, can I have a picture with you in your camp dress, me and you together with your camp dress? And she looked me dead in the eye and she said, does your wife know that you just asked me that question? I'm like, Joe's right over there. She's got the camera. She knows it's not a bad thing. I'm not making a pass at you because that's what, And most of them will not shake my hand because that's physical contact. They will greet me. Even before COVID started, they wouldn't shake my hand because that's inappropriate. Just interesting things you learn as you go along. This is what we fight against. This is Apache traditional religion. This is not culture. There's a difference between culture and religion. And sometimes it's hard to separate that. This is the worship of the spirits that they worship. This is the rite of passage for a girl who has begun her menstrual cycle. It's called the sunrise ceremony. It is all witchcraft. It is possession. It involves these people up here with the things, weird things on their head. They are the crown dancers. Supposedly the crown dancers came from the top of the mesa that is right behind. When I look out on my back porch, they came down to the Apache people. Their job is to lift the prayers of the Apache people in song up to the top of the mesa so the spirits then can look at them closer and pick and choose the ones they want to answer. That's how their communication goes with God. And, we just go right to God. What a blessing that is for us. So there is, at one point, the girl is under this 4-branch structure. 4 represent the 4 corners of the earth, the 4 tribes, 4 different wood that the spirits have given to them. She sits under there for basically 3 days. She gets covered in this white stuff because then the person of the changing woman takes over in her, and she then has the power to heal, supposedly, and people bring their sick babies, their elders, for her to heal them during this brief time when she is allowed to perform these miracles. It is not a fun thing for us to talk about. At the end, she gets covered in cattail pollen, which is the yellow stuff. Pollen is very important to them. It's like their magic protector. They sprinkle it around things to keep the evil spirits away. Traditional religion also says that you have to carry with you an eagle feather at all times. If you are a woman, it has a turquoise bead on it. If you are a man, it has an abalone bead that is attached to it, because you cannot go to the afterlife unless you have that eagle feather and that stone with you when you die, because your soul passes through that little hole and you need to have the eagle feather to fly. And Jesus dying on the cross and forgiving everyone's sin is such a difficult thing to believe. This is really hard for us as missionaries. My first class of confirmands confirmed 12 people. In the next 2 months, 3 of the girls in my class did this ceremony. And when I saw the pictures of it, I almost threw up. I was that upset by it. It is very difficult. That's all the importance of East Fork Lutheran School, to make sure our children are trained in what God truly says and what is truly grounding them. My work there is I teach 7th and 8th grade. Talked about it in my sermon a little bit this morning. This is my classroom where I teach those frightening, scary Apache teenagers. And then confirmation looks a lot like confirmations around here. Some things are very similar. These kids are the fuel that I need every day to just keep going. They're just fun-loving little kids, and that I think is important for you to know. But they're fun-loving little kids who have an extremely difficult life. The majority of them, the only meal that they get during the day is their hot lunch at school. And that's important for them too. But they keep coming back the next day. We talk about culture, not religion. So you can see some of the cultural garb, the camp dresses that the little kids have on. There's another medallion. I'm wearing a medallion. Joe is wearing earrings. Apache beadwork is one of their cultural things. The interesting thing about Apache beadwork is it all goes in a circle. Navajo beadwork goes in lines. They can weave it. So the lady who made this for me for the 450th anniversary of the Reformation saw a picture, started with a black bead in the center of the medallion, and kept going with beads until she got this design done. That's the great work that they do. Everything has deer skin on the back. I have buckskin. Joe's earrings have doe skin because, of course, you wouldn't want to mix the genders up. But that's important. You may think that this is ribbon. This is not ribbon. These are the tiniest beads that they bead with, and these are all individual rows of individual beads that Esther in our congregation did. This is a gift of love, just the amount of time that is put into it. And talking with her, and I said, I know you're not going to tell me how much it's worth, but I need to have some idea because I'm going to put it on my insurance policy. She said you could easily sell it for $3,000 to $4,000 because the medallion is large. The neck beads are the tiniest beads that we use, and there are a lot of them. She said, but money doesn't matter. You do. That's why you got it. People matter. Some of you may remember the orphanage that the Synod operated. 5 minutes. Okay, gotta go fast. It's now the Apache Christian Training School. That's where we train people in Apache, the Apaches to serve in Apache land and to be trained there, rather than having to go to Martin Luther College and the seminary, because life off the reservation for them is a huge and difficult transition. Currently, you may have heard There are a lot of Indian schools that have gotten some bad rep. A lot of those were in Canada for the time being, but they went through and they checked the ground and they found hundreds of bodies of Indian children that died and they were just buried there. And the tribes have said they have killed our children. They've said this for hundreds of years and they had no proof. And now they are finding that the tribes were right. They're returning those remains to people. And we've had questions about our school. We're not a federal school. We're not a government school, not run by the BIA, Bureau of Indian Affairs. Beating Indians always is the other phrase. But for your information, because this goes back to traditional religion. If a lady gave birth to twins, it was like the one person had separated into good and evil. You would know the evil baby because it was the first one that cried. That's the baby you killed because it was evil. The interesting thing, Apaches are prone to giving birth to twins. It's just genetic. So when our ladies who were members of our congregation started giving birth to twins, what they would do is immediately after birth, they would grab one of the kids and run it to the pastor's house and leave it on the porch. Now here, you got to take care of this kid. I'm not going to kill this kid. And the missionaries got so many of these babies that they started the orphanage. As the Wisconsin Synod, we saved the lives of 8,000 Apache children that went through the orphanage. And that's a credit to the people that supported the mission and supported the work there. And we can come back to these people who are questioning us and say, we have records that say we saved 8,000 of your people that you wanted to kill. And it's a very interesting turn of events for us. Can I talk about fry bread? This is the burger barn at the basketball tournament. Pastor Dave learning how to make fry bread. Sometime we'll have to tell that story another day. But fry bread also can be turned into ash bread, gets baked right on the ashes or on a racket, and it's racket bread. It's very resourceful stuff. This is like the menu of our burger barn at the tournament. Fry bread and beans and cheese, Indian taco, beans on fry bread as a taco shell. If you have a Navajo taco, that has lamb meat in it. And the Apache burger is 2 burger patties on a fry bread. Acorns are traditional. They eat and grind acorns. Yes, but there are some people here who have knowledge of all of this stuff. What does it taste like? Tastes like dirt with an overtone of tree bark that somebody dropped some peanuts in a couple of miles ago. It is a unique taste, but if you go to someone's house and they offer you acorn stew, that they love you. And if they pass around the acorn flour in a bowl, you're right up there with the best. A pint of it this year is selling for $75. Here's Dante. Some of you were in the first service. This is the grandson. And now he has a little brother. But see how great the Father has lavished on us, that we should be called children of God. And that's what we are. And the last slide, this is the man who is going to teach me Apache. It's a bittersweet picture. He's holding his 5th generation baptized Lutheran child. That's the good side of this picture. His wife, Mrs. Theodore DeClay, came to church with him every week. And she is a traditionalist. And when she died, the medicine man came to do her service to send her off to the great beyond. And that's the bittersweet part. I can't read anyone's heart. God has to judge them. But at her last breath, she didn't want me. She wanted the medicine man. And that's the importance of the work that I do on your behalf, is to bring people Jesus. and to fight the devil head on. There are days that I say to Joe, when we were deliberating the call, the principal's wife sent us a letter, and it was on Christmas, opened it on Christmas Day, and she's got this picture of all of the Apache kids in the church in the nativity costumes, and little Apache girl angels and a little Apache boy sheep, and she said, yes, we had church last night. Church was packed. We didn't have a pastor to lead the service because there weren't enough around to go around for anyone to come to East Fork for that service. She said, and now the medicine men are making fun of our people by saying your God isn't strong enough. Your God can't do this. So I'm in tears in the computer. I said, Joe comes in and she said, why are you crying? I never cry. I cry all the time now. But I said, because the principal's wife is not playing fair. By then we had decided we were going to go, but I said to Joe, get the rocks. We're going up the mountain just like, in the old days to build the altar, and God's going to, light the fire of the Holy Spirit. So I thank you for allowing me to present to you today. I got stories I could tell you for a whole week, but I hope that these have touched your hearts, given you a little bit of taste of your brothers and sisters in Christ in Apache land, and how important it is for you to pray for me and pray for them and to support the work that we do. It just is amazing, the work that God is doing there. And that's just the northern reservation, because I figure Pastor Gartner can fill you in on the southern reservation kind of stuff. But I thank you for your time as well as your attention.
Thank you very much, Pastor Bostedt and Joel, and certainly just a very minor bit of what he does. And I know he could talk to many more hours probably, but certainly keep him and his work and our prayers and so on. And your first service to give the message that rely on God's love. That's what moves him, and that's what moves us.
If you do have any questions, you can email me. I have some business cards if you would like to do that. I can stand in the back and share some with you on your way out. Because we have another service, don't we?
We do, yes. In 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
I let you run longer because it was so good.